Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty big warnings going on over here where a lot of folks have been running into issues with things such as Final Fantasy 16, there are also consoles overheating, and a lot of other various things has been kind of floating around throughout these past few days. Now, I did go into this news about yesterday, but I saw a little bit more of it pop up throughout these past few days. I had a few people in my actual Twitch community as well also bring this on up too, so I want to go talk about this, and as well just kind of go and highlight and accentuate the fact of kind of like what to do, what's going on with it, why it's happening, and everything else in between. There's also some pretty kind of interesting news too, as well as some big games on Battle.net getting actually completely taken down, and a few other various things all throughout this video. So if you guys will stay tuned, relax, and enjoy, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. We have all the Amazon links for the good old console still up on sale down below. And of course, give me your thoughts and comments, or if this happened to you, or as well, just for a little bit of a positivity push on this one, because I have seen some amazing Final Fantasy 16 stuff so far. Let me know if you guys have been deep diving and enjoying the game itself. Now, I do want to go remind you guys too as well, this may not be necessarily fully on a Final Fantasy issue, and as well, if there is any type of optimization or glitches, it's maybe more so in my honest opinion, kind of something maybe that will probably be fixed, but I think it's more of a PlayStation issue rather than Final Fantasy issue. But as well, just kind of let you guys know, it's not like breaking consoles, it's not like destroying things or like completely breaking them, which is not necessarily the best thing to see this happen, but I think it's more so just the game itself is just, well, very, very big, lots of animation type style game. It's a little bit of preemptive, so let's go talk about this. So right now, there's been kind of a bigger issue going on when it comes to Final Fantasy 16 in the game. Once again, though, I don't want to go knock on the game itself. I think the game itself has seemed amazing. There's been a lot of folks with very minimal issues, but there has been at least a little bit, which is, I think, still worth highlighting when it comes to, well, the game itself. Where Final Fantasy 16 fans are concerned that some of these really big boss fights are actually making their PlayStation 5 overheat. Now, I almost want to go and say this is almost kind of a good issue to go and have. Obviously, if you're playing a game, you don't want to have your console have any issues or get bricked or broken or have to restart fights. It's a little bit of a slight annoyance, but, you know, it happens. But I almost like the idea that, like, a fight is just so much stuff is going on, and there's so many different animations or elements or fire elements or whatever it might go and be, where it's like the whole console's like, bro, we can't even handle this. Funny enough, in Final Fantasy 15 even, also, this is not necessarily too much of a hate video, just letting you guys know if it happens, it's been fine. They'll probably either fix it, or sometimes also people have been saying there's been issues with the console itself, more so in terms of like fan, dust in the fans, or as well if like your room's really hot. Let's go and say your room's at like 100 degrees because you're in Texas and there's a heat wave going on, or Florida or whatever, and well, just like you're in a hot room. Like some people play games that get sweaty, this is how it is. Sometimes you have to make sure you're like just watching that stuff, or let your console go for a break if you've been running your console for 8 hours straight or whatever it might be. But basically right now they're saying that a lot of boss fights are making their PlayStation 5 consoles overheat so much that they're literally just completely turning off the console at the end of some fights or even during some fights. Now, as I mentioned, this even happened to me like a while ago when I was playing Final Fantasy 15. If any of you guys remember back on, like, I don't want to spoil the game too much, but there's a really cool, like, water dragony type fight to kind of make it very layman's terms. I was in that fight for a good solid 20 minutes, and my console literally broke. I have that clip. I'd be tempted to even show you guys. It's one of those things where I wanted to cry. But thankfully, afterwards, it just was fine the next fight. And a lot of folks who are having issues right now with their consoles, either getting, like, kind of burning out or overheating, they just basically just restart the console or wait, like, 10 minutes, let it kind of cool off a little bit, and they go from there. Now, obviously, we don't really want this to happen in most consoles or any type of situation, because duh, you just don't want your console ever just breaking, or if you're in the middle of a boss fight, you have to restart it. Never the funnest situation, but just letting you guys know this has been being reported a lot, where Final Fantasy 16 fans are concerned that the game's epic boss fights are causing their PS5s to overheat. The 16th installment of the world's most ironically named series, because it never does end, is finally here, and the good news is, according to our review, a lot of folks are saying this is a really great series. We have been seeing a little bit of issues, though, with review bombs and people kind of discussing, going a little bit more on hardcore in terms of the story, or it's just not what they really like, but I feel that's been a very consistent take for most Final Fantasy games or new iterations of games. Think like Zelda, where Zelda itself has like, people complaining about Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom. I feel like I just kind of enjoy the games how they are in this day and age. So basically, they said the not so great news for fans eager to experience Clive's epic tale is that your PS5 could get awfully hot in the process. Several Final Fantasy 16 fans on Twitter have said that the issues with their PS5 overheating whilst they've been playing the latest entry in the iconic series as well has been kind of floating around everywhere. User Cyphersphere has had access to the game a few days early and explained that the PS5 switched itself off entirely after getting too hot during some of these boss battles. So you guys can kind of see this type of stuff, just people up on Twitter. We've seen a few Reddit comments too as well. And like I said, this is not necessarily breaking anyone's consoles. It's just more so of like, it gets hot. It's like if you ever have an iPhone or like a general phone, and like you're maybe sitting outside, and then there's like it's summertime, maybe you're at the pool, like your phone's either like out on a table or it's just like, you know, underneath a blanket, and it just gets so hot your phone has to turn off and be like, hey, we gotta chill. So some folks out there in hotter areas that maybe don't have AC on, or maybe just kind of just chilling, or maybe just in a hot room because you're in a smaller room and you have a PC going, TV going, on like your PS5 going, because it does spew out heat. We have been seeing some of these things overheating. I'm playing a game that isn't even out yet, where a boss fight made my PS5 overheat so much that it just turned off and completely at the end of the fight. So you guys plan on buying new games in the near future for a day one, make sure you're just kind of careful. Now, once again, we've seen a lot of folks not have this issue. I don't think it's really too much of a PlayStation issue itself, or even a Square Enix issue itself. It kind of just seems like one of those just weird, like, preventive measures to make sure everything's okay. Like I said, maybe you're in a hot room, maybe you've been playing for a long time, maybe it's in rest mode for a little bit and you popped on, so it's still a bit more on the overly heated side. Maybe you have an older console and maybe like their heat sinks are not as well, like a Generation 1 PlayStation 5, or maybe there's even a thing with Square Enix itself, but I kind of feel this seems more of like a pure console issue rather than the game, but it also could just be an optimization issue, because sometimes there's been issues even for, like, say, GPUs, where if you go and run your computer too hot, or like it has like an unlimited frame rate, it'll try to encode like 900 frame rate, and then obviously your computer can't handle it. It just keeps on spinning, like for your cooling fans or your console itself, and it just kind of just bloops and kind of goes and resets. So they also had a chance to go and say for this one. You also, like other people said, like I've decided to get up. I got the PS5 overheating during big boss fights in Final Fantasy 16 as well. Some folks have been tagging up Square Enix trying to figure out the issue. Some folks are not really sure. Can kind of go either way. But the kind of bigger thing and why I think a lot of folks are assuming it's more on the console rather than the game itself, they had this user, David Fulston, say he fixed this overheating issue with his console by just dusting. So it might just be like your console, if it's been like a 3-4 year old console, or maybe you have pets and animals, or maybe you have long hair, or whatever it might go and be. Maybe you just have a lot of dust inside your system. So some folks have just been cleaning out the PS5 fans, and they go and fix over the overheat issues. So it's going to seem like more maybe a console issue rather than anything else. Because if your game is running and being optimized and using a lot of your GPU, CPU, etc., that means it's, going to be doing a lot of stuff. So lastly, user Jim Crikey also experienced issues when playing the demo version, funny enough. I had no issues. I've had a lot of my friends not have any issues. I think one of my streamer friends did, though, themselves, but it was, I think, a one-time thing as I was trying to just go do research for the video itself. So it doesn't seem like this is the biggest issue, and it might just be more of a PlayStation console issue, but just letting you guys know it's a big enough warning where if you guys need to, make sure, like, you either take breaks off your console, like don't play for 12 hours straight. If it's a continuous issue, maybe go and try to dust out your console itself and make sure it's all good. Or as well, maybe you just have to, I don't know, maybe you might even have a console issue, because there has been a few issues throughout the years of your consoles getting bricked and having issues. My own console itself did go and break when I first got it, so keep that in mind. But yeah, the main thing too is also some folks might just be in really hot areas. So let's say you're in like a Chicago, it's been like a 70 degrees here and it's kind of been rainy, versus like say like a Texas, where if we're at 110 degrees, yeah, your room might get hotter, or like your console might get rough, or like what if you ever randomly in the sun? There's like so many random little small things that might lead into those issues. But yeah, either way, just letting you guys know, we've been seeing a small spurge of this on Reddit, on Twitter, on everywhere else in between. So just make sure you guys just make sure your console's all good, make sure it's like standing upright or has good ventilation, like not in the corner, and as well make sure you guys take a break if you guys need to, but it's been reported enough that it should be it's like a little bit of a problem. We also did a bit of Diablo issue, funny enough too, as well, where Diablo earlier on today was actually taken out. Now I think it's all fine, good right now, but it's crazy because DDoSing and being basically attacking these big games always a bit of a scary situation, saying Diablo 4 is down to the Diablo attack, and they had a chance, I think, to have it all mitigated over here, but every now and then some folks are having issues. That issue is trying to go and sign on in. There is higher latency and disconnects, which is also really bad if you guys are playing a hardcore character. Now, I played a hardcore myself, so it's going to be a little bit on the harder thing for Diablo in general. But yeah, they're basically having a DDoS attack. They had really big warnings over here popping on up, and on top of that, too, it's just been some issues. But they did want to go and say that there was issues nonetheless, so just make sure you guys are careful on that one if you're just playing hardcore. It does seem like most issues are mostly stabilized as of right now, though, as well. On top of this, apparently the Final Fantasy 16 physical launch was actually really big then compared to Diablo and Dead Island, so it's been popping off pretty well. And on top of that, too, it wasn't anything super crazy, though. They did go and mention that it did do well. It was a #1 seller, which makes sense, but they did go and say that it was as a box launch. It wasn't like a crazy, big, strong one. Their sales are 74% lower than the launch week of Final Fantasy 15 in 2016. Now, obviously, a lot more people do digital games and digital downloads, so that does matter a lot more. Although it does kind of seem like the sales actually might be a little bit more on the lower side than expected, at least in the physical side. I still have heard really good things and really good reviews, though, on Final Fantasy, so I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on it down below. I would love to go and just make sure it's all good. So you guys can maybe see my nice little quick little Twitter picture right down there and down below. One of my homies made for me, so thank you, May. Now, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We got that Twitter link down below, Amazon links down below, and we got the good little just everything. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you guys want more news and all that stuff on the way. So be on the lookout for them. I appreciate you guys all so much for watching.